Hey everyone, I'm coming to you from a hotel hallway near an elevator and an ice machine. And I think I hear a vacuum somewhere else, so this is going to sound great. Obviously, I'm still on the road. I've been gone almost an entire month, and yeah, this has been a long one. And you're going to get content from all these different places, right? So I was at GSX, which is what this video is about. I was down here at Moonshine Brutality, that's why I'm in West Virginia, and a whole bunch of places in between. But today, I wanted to talk to you about the physical security industry and what it's like to attend what is, I think it's been told to me, it's the biggest physical security trade show, if not one of the biggest. It's certainly in North America. You've got Millipol, the Military Police Expo and such in Europe. But if you want to see what's going on, at the street level with barriers, barricades, defense systems, security glass, door security, all kind of alarms and sensors, that's what GSX is all about. So you'd say, oh, well, Deviant, that's your industry, right? You love this shit, right? Yes and no. This is a reaction video to all of it. So certainly there was cool stuff there. Some things that, weren't as cool as once you get up close. I thought this booth had really cool tools. No, they were just props. They were showing a metal detector. This booth, this looks like a coffee maker out of a Sharper Image catalog. No, it's camera domes. Door King was there. I looked through their swag. They didn't have any free giveaway keys, no 16120s, no 16002s or anything like that. Still got to go to Hooligan Keys for them. In fact, Napco is probably the booth with the best swag I found. You can see why I thought this. Of course, I was at the Napco booth because I've been getting much more into talking about life safety. So fire suppression, emergency evacuations, all of those things. I like that side of our industry a lot more, quite frankly. The reason I get into these topics and the reason I think they're so important for all of you is frankly because a lot of the other areas that we focus on in the physical security industry, the physical security industrial complex, border on the grotesque. You have what you expect, right? Like AI being shoved into everything now. And that's not unique to our industry. Every industry is like that. How much crap can you shovel AI into? And it was there. What's interesting to me is that physical security almost can make a better use of some AI because there's no way for AI to do our jobs physically, right? The only thing AI is really good for, the only thing any computer system is really good for is supporting humans. Right? Computers are supposed to make humans' jobs easier. They're not supposed to try to do the human's job. You just kind of can't in many instances. So at GSX, we did see at least a few places where AI is helping with eliminating false detections. And if you've got a wall of monitors so you can spin people's focus to this monitor, that monitor, the gun detection people, they were not the one that I showed you in that clip, but there was a different booth and they were talking about taking all of the existing video feeds that you might have on a campus or on a school system. And you can't have somebody looking at every one of these videos, but they did say, typically an active shooter or something like that will walk around for a while before engaging in an act of violence. I mean, sometimes there's just no one around, right? They come out of a bathroom or whatever, and they've got their firearm. And if you can interdict them or at least identify them sooner, is that a good thing? I mean, sure, I guess it is. You can't have people looking at 20,000 monitors, however, all across the country and from some GSOC. What you can do is have AI try to pattern match what might look like a gun and then pop an alert. And the company I was speaking to, their rep was kind of impressed. He was pleased. He's like, our system doesn't just use AI. It pops actually in front of an actual human in a call center type office. And it says, hey, what do you think of this? And it shows them a few frames of video. And then that human quickly makes a call. Is this a gun? Is this not a gun? So I kind of like that. Ultimately, a lot of the reason that I have been finding life safety and fire suppression and exit stairwells much more rewarding as part of my focus these days is that I'm just dispirited by the broader trend in how society handles physical safety and security that's on display at trade shows like this. I was telling a lot of people who asked me my thoughts and reactions to being at GSX, and I said, that old meme, the joke, right? Like men will do anything but go to therapy. Men will wage war. Men will climb a mountain. When men will start a rock band at the age of 67, but go to therapy. Society is prepared to spend money on anything other than just go to address the root causes of violence and harm to our physical safety in society. That's what you're seeing. We have gobs of money that we will dump into new technologies, freaking detector-matic systems, whamodyne, brute force, barricade, bulletproof, this, that, instead of just like taking a fraction of that money and giving a bunch of kids free breakfast and lunch at school, building a rec center, like giving kids a place to go, giving teens something to do other than get involved with a gang. We will spend tons of money with drones and cameras and super detective systems to like interdict drugs at our borders or human beings who are being smuggled in like a truck, rather than just decriminalize all the drugs, rather than just make economic opportunities abroad so that people don't feel the need to like cross borders. Or maybe we can just ask ourselves, why have a border? So that is hard. It really is hard for me to witness. And it gets into something I want you all to think about if you're in this trade or doing anything at all in security or thinking about your careers more broadly. It can be dispiriting, but maybe some people see this as an opportunity to do better. There was a Princeton University study that got a lot of traction, and I'll link to a video about it down below and probably at the end. So basically, they looked at 20 years of legislative records and data, and they found that the popularity or unpopularity of any sort of policy position has effectively no basis and bearing on whether something becomes a law in this country. Congress will pass laws based on the needs and desires of special interests and very wealthy, very powerful individuals. And whether a certain policy actually is helpful to the public or harmful to the public, that doesn't enter into it. So as we come into this election season, I want you all thinking about your future and the role you play in your communities and our country. And, you've heard it from plenty of people smarter than me, like voting alone isn't enough. Protests, boycotts, direct action, creating parallel structures, especially at the local level, where you can take care of one another, respond to emergencies, because again, there aren't going to be systems in place that are put there usually by those in power to like help you out when we have a hurricane hit, which just happened, right? When we have other strife, and we're going to see more climatological disasters. Being ready, and I'll, if you haven't, God, how many of you have you heard me talk about my friend Magpie and her podcast, right? I'll link all of her podcast stuff and her books down below. People talk about prepping and disaster management and, you got to be ready when the day comes for that thing to happen. There's a lot of that in my industry, right? You got to be ready if the shooter comes, like you got to build those barricades and those walls. Well, what if we actually just did things that made people's lives better? What if we took care of each other? What if you learned all you could and you apply this knowledge, not because you want a paycheck in my industry, but because you actually care about what really helps people on the ground? I'm not saying that I'm actually angry at anyone at GSX. I'm not saying that the as-is, body is bad. I'm not saying that these vendors are bad. Like, again, they're following the money. The analogy I make here is if you have a sports stadium and there's food vendors, and one of them is like Sam's hot dog stand, and the other one is Chris's salad extravaganza, and both of them are selling, a meal for the same amount of money, but Sam's hot dog stand has a line around the corridor, and nobody's buying salads. If you suddenly got a permit that like you could set up your shop somewhere in the stadium, and you look at those two stands, you're like, man, I got to make some hamburgers or something here, because I don't think that the kale smoothie is going to really do bang up numbers. So all these vendors that you see, they're just following opportunity. They're following money and opportunity. I mean, some of them sure are doing evil. And if you're getting into this field, maybe don't do evil shit yourself. Don't work for the company that's making like the AI robot that's going to go around and just annoy unhoused people to try to get them to move on from the sidewalk. But ultimately, like these companies, again, they're just trying to be in business in a world that has money some places and doesn't other places. Am I really angry at the people buying these products? Again, no. Because in the absence of large systemic change that reduces violence and harms in our society, which again, we know what these changes are. We literally understand that giving kids opportunities, giving people of all ages economic opportunities, giving kids educational opportunities, free, unfettered abortion on demand without apology, like that has been shown to drive crime way down. Decriminalization of consensual behaviors drives crime rates way down. Am I mad at the people in the absence of those policies who like have to buy a stronger door, have to buy an alarm system? No, because we live in a society. We exist under the conditions we exist in. I am mad squarely and directly at the political process. And I'm very upset at the politicians who are answerable only. They've decided that they are going to be corrupt. They're just going to take special interest dollars and not care about people. I'm getting a little off topic, right? If you're getting into this field, just keep your eye on the horizon. Try not to be evil. Try not to work for someone who is evil. But try to remember that the industry doesn't have to be evil, right? Like we don't have to be trying to solve these problems till the end of time because there are better ways to do it. Says the guy with the anarchist t-shirt at the gun match, which, like we'll talk about firearms another time. I had a great time at Moonshine Brutality. And it's not your usual gun match, right? Like there's whole squads of people that are all just queer shooters and loads of, rainbow goofy outfits. You'll see my cyberpunk crazy rainbow outfit in some clips. Yeah, find your community, build your community. And at the end of the day, you get your paycheck, or maybe you start a company. You're an entrepreneur, right? Hell, I own companies. Just try not to do evil. Set your horizon and set your goals early and try to stick with it. This industry doesn't have to poison you, but have the conversations that other people aren't having. Certainly not on the trade show floor, because that's not the place for it. Maybe the comment section's the place for it. No, come up to me, say hi to me. That's the place for it. Lovely human beings. Literally, again, just another time I was on a flight. Someone I'll tell you the story later. I was talking to a flight attendant, and a person next to me, her head like snapped up, and she was like, "I know that voice, Deviant. Hi." And we had a lovely conversation the whole flight. I learned all about her hobbies and diving and lots of other things. And yeah, so come say hi to me. Have the conversations in person with the people around you. That's the best course of action, I think, to a brighter tomorrow so we can all stay safe out there.